I'll say I'm so happy that you said you would stay. There were times I know that I was crazy, fraying at the edges and you saved me. I'm losing count of chances that you gave me. You're laughing at me dancing really badly and telling me the reasons why you'd gladly do it all again. 'Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Well, hey, words can never adequately convey everything you're giving to me today. But holding you is better than a holiday, and leaving you I dread it like exam day. So at the risk of sounding kinda risque, everything to now has been the foreplay. Darling, I would follow you to Norway or anywhere you want it. 'Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. One day, when we're getting wrinkly and our hair's grey, a rusty old banger in the driveway, one of us will maybe wear a toupee, but I will be in love with you.
Ooh. Welcome, 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 everybody. Who's excited for this journey? The next 4 weeks, the next 8 weeks, we've got people who are already on the road for 4 weeks. We've got people who are in brand new and ready for the whole 8-week transformational journey to become a transformational speaker. And what I would love to start with today is what we are always starting with, is I want to hear some wins, some beautiful things that happened over the last week, over the last month that you feel that's an absolute win on my speaking area. Who would love to start? Jay.
So I went to Uganda on a mission trip, and I got to speak at it. So we divided into teams of two, and it was 10 of us. So there was five teams in each of the different church, and so I got to kick off the week speaking at a church. And I gave the message of when Jesus fed the 5,000 multitudes, but I focused on the little boy who gave his lunch and how he said yes, and that the power of his yes led to the feeding of the multitudes. And I ended up issuing a challenge about, what will God do with your yes this week? And they were so excited that yes became the theme of the week. And it was just an outstanding trip. But kicking it off with that idea and incorporating the little boy's yes to their yes, connecting them into what God can do when we say yes, and he adds his yes to our yes. And that just kicked off the week, and it was just amazing.
That sounds amazing. Well done, Jay. And so awesome that you went on that trip. And what we're going to focus on today is going to immediately enable you to use that experience on this transformational journey as well. And who feels right now this is not just 8 weeks of transformation, but this is also saying yes to your identity as a speaker. with a raise of hands, right? Just what you're saying, Jay. Like, what if the word yes already started to accumulate some breakthroughs, which I love because, Jay, welcome on this journey. So is Rebecca, Blake, Rob, and Carolyn, right? And Mari. So quite some new faces. Blake, I saw your hand raised as well. What happened for you?
Sure. So I met with 3 different podcast groups and got to speak to them, and they want me to come on in August and do their podcast shows. So I'm pretty excited about that opportunity.
Wow, we've got some gigs over there. And for everybody, I saw Rebecca and Rob and Mari yesterday as well, right? The Monday calls are all there for you as well as a bonus. So just know that that is an availability for you as well. One more win. Anyone else? Rob.
Yeah, so just kind of reiterate what Blake said. Lately, I've been having people come out of the woodwork and want me to come on podcasts, and I've just been doing it. And I think I've been on 3 in the last week, and it's a little scary because I don't know how it's going to go. I'm not always 100% sure of what I'm going to say, but I'm just doing it. I'm putting myself out there, fielding questions, and every single one seems to come off really, really well, even though I'm terrified inside, like I'm going to say something or look stupid, but it seems to be helping me and making progress speaking on those podcasts.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. What I love to hear about these wins is you're getting out there. Like, that is what this transformational journey is about. You're not on a roller coaster ride to have the perfect script when you're graduating from this academy. What you're getting here is something way more profound. You're really understanding how to convey your message in whatever time frame you have. So Rob and Blake and everybody else, whether that's a podcast and you're getting questions and you're answering, those answers can be stories, right? And stories combined become a keynote. So when you start to understand what your outcome is that you want to achieve, what teaching points you want to bring home, and how to facilitate those teaching points with stories so people start to see that, feel that, experience that, that's where you are flexible. That's where you can do it your way. I had some beautiful conversations with some of you about authenticity, right? About what is now being a good speaker. And as you see me speak, you're like, that's a lot of energy, right? Maybe you're like, whoa, and I'm holding it back today. That doesn't mean that that has to become who you are. What this transformational journey is about is that you be you. And that you're using everything that you're learning in the way that works for you. Does it make sense? And let's reiterate them on some stuff that you've either heard me speak about before or that you've seen in the course. How many types of speakers are there? Show it with your fingers. Let's say 100% score all over the place. 3 of them. Who would love to share verbally what those are, or at least what you remember from them? This is not like you need 100% score. This is you are able to practice right away, implementing what you're learning. Who would love to get that opportunity? Rebecca, let's go.
I just did this yesterday, so I should remember. The first one is informational or educational, then it's inspirational or motivational, and then there's the transformational.
Nice. Good job. And Mari, I saw it in the chat. Well done. And then in your own words, Rebecca, what is the difference between those?
So the educational is basically teaching information. The motivational is creating energy and motivation to achieve something. And then the transformational is actually allowing them to accomplish it and showing the high, doing the how in the transformation, how it can happen, taking them from where they are to new.
Let's go. Give it up for Rebecca.
Picturing that Lego thing as I'm talking. Like,
isn't that fun?
Right, there's the bridge. I found it awesome and hilarious at the same time.
Isn't it fun that you were able to reproduce it because you saw it in front of you?
Yep.
Right? When we share factual information, and welcome Adrian and Irmak, if you're able to join on camera, by the way, that will be awesome. If not, we appreciate you joining no matter what. When we tell factual information, it will get across. I'm telling you, factual information is so much better than sharing nothing. Right? There's gold inside of you. So when we wait for that perfect moment, we're missing the boat. But what we do know, based on how our brains work, is that pictures are way easier for the brain to store and to remember. So when you share information in a way that people can visualize it for themselves, you're not just sharing educational information, but you're actually bringing them on a ride. And what we're going to do today is we're going to download those pictures onto paper. Who here already started their story library? A lot of you. Some of you are like looking at me is like, what does that mean? Right? Just follow along. It's all in the course. Today we're going to implement it. So whether or not you've been watching it before, that doesn't matter. You're in the right place at the right time. But if you already have your story library created, this is a beautiful moment to open it already. If not, chill out. It's all good. Just make sure that you have a pen and paper or a Word document or Excel sheet or some sort of thing that you can store your information at. Because we know that there's 3 types of speakers. The transformational speaker, level number 3, is what we're all striving for. Is that we're not just sharing informational or factual information. We're not just excited about the information so people feel our excitement and they feel ignited in the moment, but then later on they come back home and they're like, I did not implement any of it because now I'm back on the day-to-day. What this is about is that people are saying yes to something that you're inviting them on a journey. Maybe that's a product that you sell. Maybe that is a thought that you want people to think about. But we want people to take a next level action. Now, who here has already an absolute clear idea of what your aim, what your outcome is that you want to achieve when you do your gig live, with a raise of hands? Who here is like, wow, I'm not completely sure, out of all honesty, whether I'm here for the first time or I'm here for 4 weeks, I'm still figuring that out. What transformational speaking is about is that you don't need to fixate on that outcome. What transformational speaking is about is that you know that whatever you're going to share, you're going to have a new iteration to work from. And Linda, I loved your share. I think it was last week or was it the week before where you shared, I actually got clarity because I started sharing. Right? So it's not you needing to have this aim right. Because when you speak on the graduation, this is where it all comes together and this is now where it needs to come perfectly in order. And when I see your blueprint that you've been filling out, I can totally see the aim super clear. Maybe some of you are still on the journey of figuring it out. But instead of waiting for that clarity, what you're doing is you're moving. You're moving, you're sharing, you're doing podcasts, you see what lands. Because the moment that you have it all clear, you'll probably find new information. And then you go through that quest again. So if we're waiting for clarity on what our speaking story will be about, we can wait forever. What I all would love to invite you to do is make some decisions. To make some decisions of what feels or sounds or makes sense for you right now. And then throughout this journey, you might change it. You might iterate upon it. You might completely drastically do something different because now you've done one. That's what this journey is about. And today, we're going to download a lot of ideas, a lot of stories in your story library. Because in order for you to create that transformational journey, that roller coaster for other people, we need to understand that there's this aim, but we also need to pick the right stories. Now, who from the people who've already been in this journey for a while would love to explain in your own words why we use stories? We already tapped a little bit on it today, but I would love to hear it from one of you. Adrian.
To help the message stick so that people can visualize and really be there with you, to help them remember.
Freaking love it. Well done. And Adrian, why is it important to have a story library? Because today we're going to fill our story library on even further. Why is that so important?
So that then you have a bunch of different stories to choose from. So depending on your aim, then you can choose the stories. And your stories will be tied to different teaching, different teaching objectives or teaching moments. Then you can change your keynotes by changing your stories, but still maintaining an aim, same aim even.
Yes, so good, so good. What this is about is not just that you're shining after 8 weeks of doing this. What I want for all of you, Irmak, Nilsa, Debbie, for all of you, is that when a speaking opportunity comes to you and it's a different audience, a different time, a different place, that you know how to adapt your keynote. You know how to adapt your story because you understand the framework. You understand how to create a name. You understand how to choose teaching points. And you know, okay, I just need to pick the right story. Which one is right for me right now? And instead of panicking, you can go to your story library and look at the stories that you've already been saving. Now, before we're actually going to download them and do the work together, I want to ask one more question. What are the 3 categories that stories can fall into? Debbie, do you remember those? I'll share a hint with you. They all start with a C.
Coolness, community, and credibility.
Otse! 100% score. We are on a roll, group. This is awesome. And I love, by the way, that people are helping out in the chat because this is not, I'm pointing at someone and someone needs to do it all alone. We're a team over here. So credibility, coolness, and community. Debbie, why is it so important to have all 3 in every single story you tell? Whether it's a 10-minute talk, whether it's a 20-minute talk, whether it's a 30-minute talk, 45 minutes, 2 minutes. Nilsa did a pitch last week and she included all 3 C's in the pitch. Why is it so important, Debbie? You can ask for a helpline. You can point at anyone that you think, whoa, you would be a great teammate to do this together with.
Okay, you want to make rapport, you want people to be able to relate to you. They recognize the problem or the transformation. You want people to trust you.
Yes.
Credibility, and what was the other one? And so dare to be you know, with a V. Starts with a V and then
Vulnerable.
able,
Yeah,
yeah,
very
that,
good. Very
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
So when we look at people taking actions, some stuff need to happen first in order for people to go there, right? They need to feel that they know you, that they like you, that they trust you. Because people buy from two kinds of people. People are either just like
Emotional and
themselves. Yeah, oh, you're on a roll. We're coming to that one in a bit.
emotional or logical, toch? Was die
Logical. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people buy from 2 types of people. People are either just like themselves, and people they aspire to be more of. So when we're looking at picking the right stories, we want to make sure that people start to understand, oh, this is who they are. Because if people buy from people who are just like them, we want to make sure that people understand who we are. And when people buy stuff from people who they like to become more of, we better share what that looks like for us. I asked this question yesterday, I think, and I want to do it today again. Who's here? Also, obviously, all of you are here because you want to go next level with speaking, but who's here just because I'm Dutch? Raise your hand firmly if that's the case. 1, 2, 3 people. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that fascinating? So if I would not have shared that, 3 people might not have been here, even though the content is exactly the same. Right? Who's here because I'm traveling? I'm a digital nomad, I'm traveling over the world. 1. Okay, 1. So what I want to showcase with this is just by that personality trait, just by that one picture, just that one association of a person, people decide whether they're here or not. And again, it doesn't matter the content yet. So when we're talking community, we're talking about the people that you're hanging out with. Who's here because I'm in a similar group as you? Isn't it fun? A similar community, shared values. You know that you're part of the same community. If you trust the community, you may trust this person more as well. So why leave that out? Coolness. Coolness is not, oh my God, I've got like cool on my forehead or whatever cool means. Like cool is different for everybody. Cool means unique, specific, special. I've heard from someone, she always bakes cookies for her clients. I mean, that's so cool. Linda Sales. Isn't that cool? Mari is a documentary filmmaker. Isn't that cool? Carolyn, she skis as a hobby. Isn't that cool? Right? It's all these coolness pieces, all this specific stuff that people are able to remember because it creates a picture. And when it creates a picture that people also actually love, it will do something else. Who remembers where Ray went to as a trip? Please put it in the chat. Africa, nice one, Mari. Is there anything specific that it created for you in your memory, Mari, when he was sharing that?
Right now, I love the story, the story he said and how he focused it on the kid. I just loved it. It was very meaningful. Thank you, Jay.
Isn't that amazing? So what Mari brings back is he was talking about a kid. So we're not completely following this thought, but Jay, this is super important information. So the word Africa stuck and that you were working with kids. Now, everybody, the fact that Jay goes to Africa to be there for kids and helping kids, what does this tell us about him as a person? I did not let any of you yet introduce yourself in this group. So some of you are feeling like, oh, who are these people? Some of you might know some. What does just that story do to how you see Jay as a person? Please put that in the chat. These are all hallucinations. These are all interpretations of your own worldview. It's not right or wrong, but let's show it. Jay, look at the chat, man. This is you. He has great empathy. He is caring and giving. He's about community, passionate about serving. He has a big heart. Keep it coming, you guys. He's a sensitive human being. Reminds me of when I got to Africa helping kids. Oh my God, there's other people doing this too in this exact group. What a coincidence. Big heart, helps people, God-centered. Rebecca, isn't that like really, really important to you? Right? He's a Christian, right? So that little piece of information, how much time did you take, Jay? 30 seconds, 60 seconds? Sharing a win. It already created pictures for other people that they connected with based on what they found important. Can we see that the word Africa resonates with people? The word kids works for some people. Some people are God-centric and they heard that vision. Now, when you hear all three and they all resonate on an emotional level because you went through Africa, you believe in God, you help kids. You're like, oh my God, like I already feel so connected to Jay and I didn't even talk to him. That's what we're talking about. So imagine that you can create that emotional connection and you don't need to talk one-on-one, but you can do this exact same thing, but then one-to-many. And this is already one-to-many, Jay. This was 30 seconds. Imagine if it would be 10 minutes of very strategic position stories for a very specific and strategic transformation that you're there to create. The reasons why we have 3 C's is because we tip on all the levels. Because, and Debbie, this is what you were focusing on, and kudos for remembering that as well, because that is sales principle number 2. People make that decision, a purchase decision, based on emotion, and they justify it logically. They justify it logically. Who here with a raise of hands is here because you are so ready to feel confident on stage? Look at the room. Everybody. Everybody. Now, feeling confident, is that an emotion or is that logic? It's an emotion, right? But then if I would say you're going to work on your confidence, let's go. What's your first question? Okay, but how many weeks? Like what was my result? Like what's all of this? So your conscious brain also wants to know, okay, this makes sense. I can logically explain that this makes sense. And for some people, that logical voice is a little louder. For some people, they just need to hear some facts. So when we know that in the end, we all make that purchase decision based on an emotion we want to feel, what if we can create that emotion while people are listening to us? We justify it logically while they're listening to us. And they see who we are, so they see what we have in common and who we want to be, what our values and our value system is, so they know you're the right person for me. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're doing today. Who's excited? Who's excited? Whether or not you already started with your story library, maybe some of you have already 20 stories downloaded. Just for sake of vision, will share my screen and share with you what my story library looks like. Because whatever I'm gonna share with you, it's not something I think works, it's something I practice. Every single piece of it. So what we already shared is the story library is here to help you come up with content and easily adapt because you have those stories stored. Now, this is a whole list of all stuff that happened to me either personally or I read in a book or I saw in a movie, and the list just keeps going. It just keeps going. So again, whether or not you already started, this process never finishes. It never ever finishes. This is a lifestyle where something happened to you and you're recognizing, oh, this might actually be a moment in time that I can now utilize to share something with someone else. So Jay, I'm so sure that you going to, like the trip that you just had, there's like 10 plus stories, little moments in time, that when you sit with it with presence, which what we're going to do now, you're able to recognize what those stories are and you're able to write them down. So when you go through this process and you're at the phase of where you're going to pick the right ones, you're able to pick the ones that makes most sense. So we're going for quantity first before we go to quality. The process that we're going on right now is literally quantity over quality. Now, before we do that, what actually is a story? When we're going to brainstorm stories, then how do you know that you're actually brainstorming the right thing? Linda, in your own words, what does that mean?
Say that again, Lori. Sorry.
You got it.
I zoned out for a minute.
Yeah, you put something very, very smart in the chat, because once starting to document your stories, you'll remember lots of memories. And that's exactly what this is about. So in your own words, Linda, what is a story? And what is a story not? When we're brainstorming, what are we specifically looking for?
Well, you're looking for something that's impacted your life, that has changed your life and made you maybe change course or change direction, which is both the same thing. I've had my grandson, so my mind is putty right now, just letting everybody know.
Okay. So
The
you're
3-year-old's
building the
running
muscle.
around.
You're building the muscle even stronger in imperfect environments, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So you're
Sounds good for me. Thank you.
So can you think of a story that you once shared in your keynote? Because what the point that I want to make for all of you is there's a difference between a moment in your life and your whole life's story. And what we're looking for when we're downloading stories is that it's a moment in time. So Linda, can you share a specific moment in time for you? Maybe even with your grandson. Like what happened with you? Did you do something fun with your grandson? Like what happened for you? And let's do this live so you all see what happened to Linda recently. So this is something that you're able to do on a continuous basis while you're living your life. So tell us, Linda, what happened with your grandson? What fun activities did you do?
Well, it wasn't a fun activity, but it's kind of learning how even a 3-year-old can try to manipulate you
Okay.
and negotiate.
Okay.
So it's this morning, he kept asking, Etha, bring me my milk. I kept saying, no, come get your milk. And he was persistent enough. And if he continued on that path as he gets older, it's going to be an expectation of his that people will bring whatever he needs. And eventually, after me being persistent, he did come get his milk. But it was that back and forth that made me realize he's only 3. This is how we develop older people to have bad habits. So that was my lesson for this morning.
Okay, so Linda just shared a story. Well done, Linda. That was beautiful. And how fun that Adrian is now connecting. Why? Because she has a 3-year-old son. You see how specificity creates connection? Because Adrian, if Linda would not have said 3, you might have less related. Would that be true? Maybe, maybe not. So it's all these little nuances, you guys, and that's what we're looking for. So Linda, this is a beautiful story. Grandson came here, milk, something along those lines might be your title. What we're looking for right now, together at this moment, I'm going to give you a prompt. For example, pen. I have a pen in my hand. The prompt might be pen. Now, then, and I'm explaining it now, we're not doing it at this moment. You get, for example, 4 minutes to think of all the stories that come up for you with pen. The outcome is not to have stories with pens. The outcome is that you have some sort of starting point. So when you're thinking about, oh, a pen, oh, it was the time that I signed my contract for my house. Oh, that was a big moment. Signed contract house. Oh, house. Actually, I was lost on holiday in a house in Sicily, and then I remembered this specific moment. So it's not for you to think of pens, but I'm going to give you different prompts to start to think of different places of your memory and come up with those. This process is about letting the subconscious, everything that's already stored in your brain, but it's just not top of mind, because it's a memory. It's not necessary for your brain to come up with those right now. So I'm give you prompts that activate that process for you so you're able to draw those down. What we're looking for again is quantity over quality. Whether or not you've already watched the video, what the story library is about is that you create a title that you recognize, you create teaching points, so you remember what point you can make with it, and you can create bullet points so you remember the story. For right now, I would love for you to just start writing. Start writing. start creating titles, get some notes, like all of these things. Then at the end, like on your own, you can start to make them into a right order, put them in your story library, get them in place. But what we're looking for right now is quantity. Because I will tell you, when you're still figuring out your aim, or when you're figuring out what stories you're going to use, you're going to help yourself so much by brainstorming. And in the beginning, I did this for 2 hours every single Friday, every single week. I think for 1.5 or 2 years. I'm not saying that that's what you all need to do. What I am saying is we're looking for quantity right now. Now, before we're going to start, and I'm giving you a prompt, I'm giving you some music and time pressure. Are there any questions that you have right now that you feel that you need to have clarity on to start with this exercise? Just know that when you have it, other people have it too. So if you don't ask, other people won't have that clarity. Anyone needs something?
I just put my question on the chat.
For the one who have done your story library, I'm curious what core categories you have put in your list. These are my categories. Beautiful, Mari. So what you're talking about is creating tags, right? Categories for different stories, so it's easier for you to find. That's not what we're doing right now, but it's a very good question. It's a very,
Sorry.
very good question.
I'm
So right now we're looking for a lot of stories, and then later on, we'll make sure that they come back to a certain point. So right now, I'm just going to give you some prompts for you to brainstorm on, and then afterwards, we will go into this. So keep and hold on that question because it's a really good question. Anyone else? All right. Then we're going to start. You get 4 minutes. The first prompt is, gonna get a drum roll, sunshine. Sunshine. The time starts right now. Start writing. Hands up. Rob, come on now. Don't leave us hanging. Hands up. There we go. Perfect. So I would love to hear one or two stories from different people who remembered something that you was not top of mind before. Blake, what about you?
So I remembered a story when I took my wife to Hawaii to propose to her. I'm autistic, so I'm very structured. And one of the things I did is I scheduled spontaneity. And so I made a 2 hour gap to be spontaneous. And so that was a story I'd forgotten about.
Wow, I get chills. Okay, so let's do the same thing when we're listening, what we just did for Jay. What comes up when Blake shares this? And I purposefully make this question quite broad. What comes up for you when he shares this? Romantic, vulnerable, beautiful. What else? Keep it coming. I want at least 20, if not 30 things. So quantity over quality. I want you in that state of quantity over quality. Really thoughtful and doing something special for his to-be wife. Loves his wife. Structured. What an amazing journey he's on. What else? Intentional. Beautiful. Awesome. Thinks outside his box. What else? Spontaneous. Loving. Hawaii, right? Capital letters, 2 exclamation marks. We don't know yet what she means with that. But can we see that just in that one sentence there's emotion? And what did we just learn, right? It's emotions that people buy into. It's emotions that bring people on a roller coaster. Whenever you're able to provoke an emotion is where you're winning. The most transformational speakers who are able to engage their audience the entire time are able to create so many emotional sparks that people just every single time they just keep being engaged. And that's what you just did, Blake. Not even like thinking about how you were going to share it. Isn't it fun? You had 4 minutes to just remember something. You just shared it, just like Linda just did. She's like, I don't have any, but if I would, this would be it. And then just that is already creating this emotion. So what different C's did you guys hear in this little story that you shared? Which, if I would be going to Blake's story library, you'd probably see a title as propose wife, right? That would maybe label it. Coolness, holiday in Hawaii. I agree. Community, wife, right? He's sharing, oh, I have a wife and I really cherish that because I plan spontaneity. Like, does it say so much about his character, right? Going above and beyond. What about credibility? Did we hear anything that could be connected to credibility? Nay could be an answer. Yes can be. Credibility finds a way to deal with autism. Credibility with autistic community, right? It's like, it doesn't mean credibility doesn't mean I got a certificate, look at my diploma, woohoo, or look at the results. Credibility can also be I went through this journey myself and now I'm on the other side. Credibility can also be through sharing my stories of overcoming something, I show that I'm resilient. It's the emotional connection, the assumptions, the gaps that you create that people fill in for themselves. Because Blake didn't say, okay, you guys, I want to introduce myself. I'm Blake. I love my wife. I'm very structured and I'm intentional. I am getting out of my comfort zone. And you know what? I am awesome. He didn't say that, but in a way he did. And who believes it's true? Who believes it's absolutely true? Look at that. Look at that. What does it do for you, Blake?
You know, I didn't realize just the little sentence because I didn't really feel like I shared a story. I just felt like I shared a sentence and how impactful and powerful a sentence can be. And
Yes.
so just to see the comments just from everything, little pieces that were taken away, it's amazing to see.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And that's the gift that you're giving all of yourself. All of you give that to yourself. Because we can make this complicated too, with story arcs and structure pieces. But it can also be easy and fun. And through that process, you're building that keynote. And this is such a big piece of it. So one more story I want to hear. Irmak, are you available? I see you're off camera, but you're tuning in, which is awesome. Are you able to share something? Are you in a place where that's possible?
Yes. Okay.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Well, it reminded me of a funny story where I was with my mother in Dominican Republic during just the COVID hit, and I wasn't Dutch at that moment, so I did my citizenship applications. However, it was in the process of being approved. For that reason, I wasn't able to take my mother back, and she wasn't able to fly to Turkey as well. So she had to stay in Dominican Republic. I had to go, etc. So obviously, it wasn't going to work like that. So the Germany was take Netherlands back home from Dominican Republic. So in short, there was German and Dutch consulate trying to figure all going to work out. So I had the forms to fill from all these, of course, different countries, and I kind of literally mixed all these people's pens with each other, and then they were like, I kind of had to bring. It was like, yeah. Because of this, they had to become in a WhatsApp group, and they weren't really in communication with each other. So I made like quite world peace through through my situation. And in the end, I took my mother, and they through video made me citizen there. So I became Dutch. We connected to the Dutch municipality, and then we flew back. It's a funny thing when there is more details to it, but it was it just came. This story came to my mind.
That's a beautiful story. And you were breaking up a little bit, so I just want to kind of like confirm if this is what I understood correctly. You were with your mom. You're from Turkey, right? You were with your mom in the
Yes,
Dominican Republic, and then
yes,
you were able to go back because of the embassies, and then it was harder for your mom, and then you put
yes.
all of those groups into a groups app, and they had to
Yeah,
figure it out
yes,
together.
exactly.
Wow.
So
Thank you for sharing that. Let's do this.
yes, so
Um,
indeed, like
Go on.
there. I think my internet is a little bit bad. Can you hear me?
It's playing in a fun way, but we did understand the story. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do the same thing for you.
Yes.
So it's gonna be fun for you to
Okay.
watch the chat. Because what is this story? What comes up for you when you're listening to Irmak? She is from Turkey. She goes with her mom to the Dominican Republic. Because of papers, visas, and all those fun stuff, she's able to go back, but not with her mom. Now she organized a WhatsApp group with the embassies who are now figuring it out together. And she kind of said as well, now I'm living in the Netherlands, even though I'm not from the Netherlands. So what does it tell us about Irmak? Love that she travels with her mom. Community, holidays with her mom, coolness. She adventurous. She is grit to get the job done, determined, and loves her mom. Adventurous, adventures. A lot of her adventures here, Mak. She travels a
Yes.
lot of places. That's so cool. Resilient, resourceful, right? So, Irmak, in your own words, what is it that you facilitate for an audience? Like if you would share your aim in your own words, like whether it's perfect or not, because it won't be, no one of us, also not mine. Like it's always changing. So what facilitation do you create for your audience?
Um, we didn't try my messages through this story, you mean?
Yeah, so besides the story, what do you want to facilitate? And if I remember it right, Irmak, it's you want to help women with hormonal
Oh,
balance.
Oh, yes. So I don't know if this story would be connected to that, but like, I guess it is possible to make it happen, like, because it was impossible. Like, I wasn't citizen and I became citizen. I really pushed it super hard and negotiated, and it was
You're
really like
badass. Yeah.
something truly like not yeah, it wasn't done before, literally, something like that. And also maybe the relationship, I guess, the trust relationship with your mother. And I remember like them telling me, they were very confident that I'm not going to leave, so it was very, I think it's a story in a way that yeah, I mean, all the, probably even the political rules that we think, all communication with the right approach, I think there is a way to resolve them.
Yes. Very
So
good.
I
Very
think
good.
I would put the story like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
so good. What I want to show all of you right now is now we're focusing on quantity. So in a bit, you get a new prompt. We're going to do this exercise again. And Irmak is helping women to have more hormonal balance. And you might be wondering, like, what does it had to do with the Dominican Republic, with Turkey, with like all this bureaucracy? But we will
Mhm.
find a connection if needed when we strategically want to pick this story because we know we want all the three C's. And is this story so valuable because it's so rich in data? And then we will find a connection. So that is something you don't need to yet worry about because maybe your brain is like, yeah, what am I going to do with this one? But there will be a connection, and it could even be like hormones need to work together, just like the concept is when I was there and there and there, and this is how it works. So let's say that Turkey is dopamine, right? So now we're going to create this picture for people that they can now connect with something they already understand. So you don't yet need to think, oh, I am going to use this story. This is complete bullshit. Right now, I want you to think quantity. And I love, Rob, that you're already writing 6 paragraph story from the prompt and that it makes you more comfortable. Right now, we're thinking quantity over quality, man. So this is just, we're going to go through this again and again and again. And through this process, and this is what Linda was just sharing, you will remember more and more stories because you will see more prompts. So we are going to brainstorm right now on a new one. Jay, is there anything important that you would love to share or ask before we continue?
Yeah, so I was having a hard time with the prompt on the sunshine, and I was like, I first thought like the B movie, and then I was floating in the Dead Sea. I was okay, sun breaking through the clouds, and then it was clouds that ended up launching me when I was going to youth for the mission training. I stopped in Hope, Arkansas, and the clouds were so gray, and I thought of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz because it looked like Kansas before the tornado. And I was like, I'm wondering if this is my journey. And I'm wondering at the end of this journey, if I'm going to be like Dorothy and I didn't have to leave home to find the answer. But anyway, but it wasn't the sunshine. So I was having a real hard time with the sunshine. But then I was like, as I was, I don't know. But then when it came to breaking with the cloud, and the cloud ended up being I don't know, is that normal?
That is exactly the point, Jay. That's exactly the point. The goal is not for all of you to talk about pens. The fun thing is, the stories I was hearing had nothing to do with the pen, or no, I didn't say pen, but it had nothing to do per se with sunshine on itself, right? It's more the association that brings up a memory. So this is a game that you can play with yourself whenever you want. If you open a book and you point at a word, and now you're gonna write down all the stories that come up when you think of the word, and what you're gonna go through. Because Linda, this is your, I think, third round of Speaking Academy. Would that be correct? Yeah, your third round. So now Linda has been doing this for a while, and now she starts to recognize, oh, I'm doing this. I was in a story and immediately journaled it down. Oh, I now have a new aim because now I'm understanding this puzzle a little bit. I changed my aim, so now I need new stories, and I came up with 3. So that is what this is about. It's not about you doing it perfectly because now I said sunshine and now I'm gonna figure out where the sunshine came from. It's just to help you get into this zone of brainstorming. That's what this is about. So we're gonna go through another round. Get set. The new prompt is plant. Plant, very inspired by this beauty. Look how it's growing. Plant, 4 minutes on the clock. The time starts now. Last 30 seconds. You're doing great. Keep going. Right, that was the time. Hands up. Hands up, come on, we're waiting for everybody. Debbie, Mari. Hands up. Come on. Come on. Great. Beautiful. Why am I doing that, by the way? I mean, I think it's fun, but like, it doesn't have to be that you do that too. But when you're speaking, and I'm speaking right now, and part of you is still brainstorming, like, are you really listening to what I'm saying? Yes or no? When you're still writing? No, 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 no. So now, as a speaker, you're the leader of attention. So you want to make sure that everybody is with you. And now I'm doing this. I think it's fun for today. I've never done it before. But like, you find your way. There's a lot of different ways on how to get people back with your attention. But that's why I'm doing it. It's not to make a really cool screenshot. I won't do that. All right. I want to hear some shares. Rob.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I got to tell you, first of all, I'm having a blast doing this. I'm sitting here giggling by myself like a moron because I'm just having so much fun. To be honest, I've never really, it's like a game. Like just take a random word and how can I create a story and relate it? And it's just, I think I'm pretty daggone good at it.
Okay,
Um,
great.
so I'll just read to you the first two short paragraphs of what I came up with when you said plant. But after barely graduating high school and facing all those setbacks, I was like a seed that had been thrown into a rocky, barren ground. Everyone around me seemed to think I would never amount to much, that I didn't have what it took to grow into something meaningful. But here's what I discovered: just like a plant doesn't need perfect soil to grow, I didn't need perfect circumstances to thrive. When I found self education, it was like I became my own gardener. There's more, but
Let's go.
that's the gist of it.
Give it up for Rob. That's a beautiful paragraph. And Rob, what's going to be even like this whole journey is fun, right? That's the purpose of it. So when we look at the different structures, I want to almost double acknowledge you because it feels to me that there's more than one story in the paragraph that you just shared. And what we're going to do is like, I'm going to tell you a little story in a bit, and I'm going to show you how I done that in my story library. So you, Rob, also start to see how is this story library going to be created? Because what enthusiastic entrepreneurs often do, and I pointed myself for this big time, is sometimes I have this idea and then I want to create this whole story. I'm like, oh, this whole thing, this is going to be very valuable. And what is really nice, it's out of my head and it's onto paper, so it doesn't start to spiral. So it's really nice to write it down. On the other side, sometimes when it's a really long story, is that the framework works less flexible. So what we want to create is we want to think of moments in time, right? Specific moments in time that happened. Even like when I make it specific, if I would zoom in to, like, let's say that this is the story of your life. Like this is your timeline. I would zoom in, not just to a year, not just to a month, not just to a week, not just to a day, but a moment a day. So what we're really looking for is a whole list of moments in a day that when we put them together becomes different stories combined. And what that's going to help you do is it's going to be easier to plug one out and plug one in. And what you actually already created, Rob, which is phenomenal, is you already start to glue them together as well. And I want to point that out based on the framework because you're doing it so authentically already that gluing it all together will be really fun for you. And what I also want to create is the awareness of the difference between a story and different stories combined. And in the story library, we really want to see a moment in time specifically. Now, I'm going to tell you a story in a bit where you might recognize, Laura, that's also not 1 hour. So it's not this inconcrete rule, but I will share the story so you start to visualize what that can do for you. But it's really good. And it's really fun that you love this process. And it's really cool that you're associating with different things. Because can you see that when you're driving outside, you're like, car, oh my God, I now think of all these things. And at some point, I will tell you what's going to happen. You will get a little crazy because now you start to see stories everywhere. And it almost starts to feel like this 4-hour-a-day job because your brain now is in this mode that we put ourselves in. So, based on your schedule, lean into what's possible, but start to just recognize that when you do one a day, like what's 7 times 8? 56? You have like 50 plus stories in 8 weeks when you just do one a day. And from 56 stories, you can create like 20 keynotes, if not more, right? So that's not the goal per se to create 20 keynotes, but I want you to be flexible and download all these things. Make sense? Debbie, the last one, what came up for you when you were thinking of a plant?
My father came up to me. My father loves plants, and through his love, I saw many botanic gardens. So you can imagine that when I was born, what did they give to my parent? A plant. Well, this plant, hoe zeg je dat nou? Survived moving from one place to another, she got many kids. They're all over the Netherlands. And right now, she's still with me, and she's 67 years old.
Wow.
Happened right away. Yeah.
That is amazing. And that is the story. The story, and I would title it like, and it doesn't matter what the title is. The title is for you to recognize, but I can imagine it would be something like present plant. Like, or duplicating plant, or 65-year-old plant, or 67-year-old plant, right? So it's now it's this title where you will remember what you meant with it.
Yeah.
And what I want to share with all of you now, and by the way, who got some stories with a raise of hands? Who got some stories? Who got more than 2 stories? Who got more than 3 stories? Who got more than 5 stories?
And plants.
Who got, not just on plants, on all of them?
Oh, no, I have a lot of stories. Yeah.
Who got 10 more stories? Is that awesome? Right? So we want to make this into a routine. In the course, I believe it's video 2.4, there's a whole explanation of how the story library works, how to duplicate it into your own system with Notion, how the tags all work. We'll walk you right through it. So if you did not create that yet, you can do it through that video. But right now, I want to share the use of it, because for everybody who was here on yesterday, basically on the bonus call, I already shared this story and I'm going to do it again. So for you, it's going to be fun in a different way because you start to see that I never tell the same story the same. So that's the freedom that you give yourself as well. So what I loved from all the wins that you were sharing today is that you are creating stages for yourself already. You're creating stages in a church. You're creating stages in a podcast. You're creating stages all over the place. And on this transformational journey, I know some of you, like you have like your son in your house before he's leaving for a while. Some of you are really leaning into your business. Some of you are having travel plans. Like, who here feels like, I said yes to my speaking and I'm going to make it work, but there's also other things I'm doing in my life, right? There's other things that have priority too. And can we sometimes agree that that also creates this question, is like, is this the right time because I have other things to do? And that when you focus on one thing, it sometimes derails from other things that are also important. And that might create some thoughts like, maybe it is not the right time because something else will suffer, even though I find it important as well. And when that's the case for you, I want you to know that you're not alone, because I see a lot of people nodding their head, but I am going through that as well. Because a friend of mine, he asked me, Lori, I'm going on a cruise in October with 300 digital nomads, people traveling and working. and entrepreneurs. And would it be something that you might be interested in? Now, some of you already know that I absolutely love traveling. I love adventure. So my heart was like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing ever. Especially when he was telling where the cruise was going on. I've never been on a cruise, by the way. I just love water. I've been my dream was to be an Olympic swimmer. I really trained for this for years. And the cruise starts in Seattle and ends in Australia. And when we're going to Australia, we're stopping in Fiji, in Hawaii. And I already say we because I already start to associate me being on there, right? Do you have that sometimes too? That you have this vision that you have, this dream that you want to go on, this speaking journey, but part of you is also like, well, I also have other things to do and it might derail. And in my head, I'm like, I would love to go on this cruise, but a whole month. I don't even know if there's internet. My whole business is online. I love consistency in my life. I don't want to just leave everything for a month. I cannot do it. So I'm not able to do this. But you are here. So in that pivotal moment where you could have chosen a lot of different ways, you chose to ask yourself a question. What if? What if it is possible to do it all? And that's what I started to ask myself as well. What if? What if it's possible to do it all? You know what? I would like to even invite a different question, a more powerful one. What if, because of this thing that I really want to do, everything else in my life is going to win because of it? It's not going to suffer because of it. It's going to win because of it. And I started to mind wonder, what if I would go on this cruise and my business is going to explode because of it? I'm able to impact even more people because of it. And I started to think questions that you're going to ask yourself on this journey as well. What can I create out of this opportunity? What if this is not just a cruise with 300 entrepreneurs, but maybe there are some speaker slots on the cruise? Like, how cool would it be if I can be a speaker on the cruise? Wouldn't that be cool? So, long story, a little longer. I called up the owner of the cruise, the organization of it all. And he found out that I was a speaker. My friend introduced us. And he said, Lori, I would love for you to be a speaker. And I'm like, what? I can go on this cruise and I can be a speaker? Now, in the process, I also found out there's actually Wi-Fi. So I was creating monsters in my head. Who remembers that you're thinking about all the things that's going to happen. And when you're actually thinking, it's like, oh, I created those. It's not real reality. I created all of that. But not just that. I asked him, hey, now I'm a speaker and I'm contributing to this cruise. Like, what does that collaboration look like? And he started to speak, and I just kept letting him speak. What's going to happen, you guys? I'm going to go on this cruise. I'm going to be a paid speaker on the cruise in front of 300 people of my absolute ideal people that I can help further. And I met 2 amazing women who might also want to go on this cruise, combined with one-on-one coaching. So now, instead of being able to do that, continuing everything that I was already doing and getting a speaking gig on a cruise, I now started to think, like, what if this becomes a thing now? What if I go on cruises 3 times a month, or not 3 times a month, three times a year, and every single time I bring in 3 people who can work one-on-one, that when we get on the cruise, they don't have to have anything in place, and when we stop, when it's done, they're dialed. They have their keynote, they have their confidence, they have it dialed, because I'm there with them anyways. They're going to tell me stories on Fiji. I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to explain them exactly how these stories that they're now sharing with me are part of the story library and how they can create all of this. So because Nilsa's in, I'm not selling anything. This was just my mind wandering because I started to think, what if it would be possible? What if this journey that we're on is not derailing you of anything you're here to do, but it's adding value? What if when you go through your life, you start to read, when you're with your son, you start to see, oh, these are all the stories with my son. Well, every adventure we go on right now, I'm able to story my story library. It's not derailing, it's actually adding value because now I'm able to see this time as more rich because I'm journaling all these stories down. I will remember them forever. I'm gonna tell everybody. You guys, I'm so excited about this cruise. I just make sure I tell it in every single training I connected to teaching points because I just love talking about it. I'm so excited, right? So this week I was already able to tell it twice. And for people who were there yesterday, was this the same way I explained it or a different one? Totally different, right? Different teaching point, different way of sharing it. Now, what am I doing here? I'm going to use this story on a big stage. I'm already sure. So I'm going to share my story library. I was doing this at the exact same time that you were brainstorming. So I put this in my story library because I remembered this is an important moment. Look at this. Cruise Australia. Mari just asked me in the chat, all of us, what are the categories? These are mine. Now the categories are here, and in Notion, we call them tags. Tags are basically the categories that these stories fall in place. And this is not like, are your categories good or are mine better? Like this is just for you to find them easily. So as you can see, I've got quite a few. So when people say, Lori, can you do a keynote on, let's say, something entrepreneurial, like it's for a bunch of entrepreneurs. So I tagged them with entrepreneurial behavior. Now you might not. Nobody cares about your tags. It's for you to use. So when you think I'll probably want to talk about hormonal balance, but also about mindset, you might create 2 tags, just 2, mindset and hormonal imbalance. That's it. Maybe for you, it's finding the life of your dreams. Maybe that is one tag with suffering or unaware or depressed, and other tags that have something to do with travel or business. Like these tags are here for you to use. Your story library is for you to use. When you go through mine, you probably won't understand it. And that's perfect because it's mine. It's for me to use. So your categories are for you to use. So you can decide whatever works for you. You can always brainstorm together, of course, but just know that there's no right or wrong. So when I click entrepreneurial behavior, which I'm doing now, then all my own stories about entrepreneurial behavior come. So I'm able to click on it and I'm like, oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, great. Oh, I probably not used this. I miss a connection. Oh, Tenerife. Oh, this was a good one, right? So now I'm just remembering my own stuff. And while we were doing this, I collected this. So I gave it the title, Cruise Australia. The goal of the title is that I remember it. So I'll remember what I mean. We don't want to put here Cruise Australia with person that then said this, that then said this. Title short. So you remember it. That's the only thing. So later, what you're going to do is all the ideas of all the stories that you just wrote down, you're going to put them in this framework. Give them a title, give them a tag, what I just did. In the video, it's exactly explained how to do all of that. And then we give them teaching points. Now, is it possible that one story has multiple teaching points? Yes or no? Yes. And I already proved it with telling this story. Today, the teaching point was, or what was the teaching point? Because I used it as I was sharing a teaching point with the story. If you would guess what it was. What was it for you? What was the teaching point of this story? Never give up on your dream. Stage driver, I put that in. Look for open doors. How story trigger emotions in people's lives. Say yes. Find your stage. They're all correct. They're all correct. So, like, the teaching point is for you to remember, oh, this was what I thought of that story. Now I remember what I meant. So you don't need to go through that thought process again. Again, it's here to help you. And then the story points should make it like 100% correct. So this would be story points. It's like, okay, opportunity cruise, scary, no Wi-Fi, call owner, create stage, win-win. Now, this is again for me to remember. So don't write it all out, because now we're rehearsing a script and we are speaking in a different way than we write. And what transformational speakers do, they speak as they speak. So we want to help ourselves remembering the story by not needing to remember every single word of it. So we're remembering the title, we're remembering the tag and the connection, and then we're remembering some bullet points. So when I ask you, what do you mean with it? You can answer. I'm not asking you to do it perfectly in dialogue and all these technical things. That comes later. Right now, I just want you to write as many as possible. Does it make sense? And what I'm doing now, and I want to model this for you, is I already told this story now 2 times. Yesterday, in a way, I'm like, it's nice, but it's a little too long. I thought it was a little too long. I want to make it a little shorter, a little bit more dense. So it's like, I want to do this different, this different. So now we're doing it again with a different teaching point. So what I'm doing, you guys, is when I'm on a podcast and I'm going to tell this story, I'm dialed with the story. Because I've already told it 5 times out loud with a teaching point, that now I'm able to adapt very easily. And this is the opportunity that you have as well. Some of you will go live in 4 weeks with a raise of hands. Who are those people? Linda, Debbie, Adrian, Nilsa, Irmak, and Maddie and Carolyn, you're in 8 weeks. You're in a new round, so you're gonna go for 8 weeks again. So whether that's in 4 weeks or in 8 weeks, we want to just make this into a habit. Again, this is not one big keynote that you're rehearsing for. This is not this one scary thing that now you need to be so uncomfortable about. This is another moment in time. Now there are just also other people listening. And then the next time you're going to do it on a podcast. And the next time you might include that story in a one-on-one call you have with a client. Because now you start to see, I have all these stories. I can make a point with this story. I'm going to choose this story for this point, and that's how we're going to do it. Make sense? Any questions so far? Or any questions whatsoever? Carolyn?
It always feels like 4 weeks.
It goes fast. It's fun, huh? Good. Do you have any questions on the content of today, Carolyn?
No, this is awesome. I was there yesterday. I actually liked the long one because it was like a journey with you. It was awesome. I loved it.
That's so cool. So you see, there's different ways. Like when you have a 45-minute keynote, we either pick one and we extend it a little bit and we add some small ones in between, or we just pick more stories, or we use that in a smaller piece and we bring that all together. Right? So that's the fun part of this whole journey. And this is really cool that you shared this, Carolyn, and I saw some people even nodding. Right? So there is not a right or wrong. You just want to practice. You want to practice a skill. You want to be adaptable so that when you get on stage, and this actually happened last time, where the lineup was changed. So some people thought, I'm going to be 4th, and then they became 3rd. So that happens in real life too. So be adaptive. Be adaptive that when an organizer gives you 45 minutes, but they're running out, and it's more important to get back on schedule instead of you giving you your 45 minutes, and they say, we love it. Can you make it 30? Then instead of thinking, I use my slides, I prepared it so perfectly. This was 33 weeks of over preparing. What are you doing to me? You can say, you know what? I got you, of course, because you know what to do. Who's excited to feel that? To feel whatever you're going to share is going to land because you know how to do it. You know that you can do it in a way that's fun and authentic for you because you change. And some stories, like this story right now, just makes me so excited by sharing it. So I want to use it in every single teaching point I can because I enjoy it, because it's recent for me. So I bring authentic enthusiasm because it's real for me right now. Sometimes you will share stories from your past. Sometimes you share stories of your future and you start to share. You see, I'm now sharing where I'm going. And Nilsa says, I'm in. I'm like, there is nothing yet. Like share that vision with people. That's what you are going to do as well. Before we're going to end, Luke, what would you love to share? I see you're not on mute, but I'm not able to hear you. By the way, who loved having the call with Luke? And I know some of you still have it planned in a little bit. Who loved talking to Luke? Just spurling out all your ideas and just having some space for you to reflect on what is that aim? Because I know, and I really know that some of you are still figuring out what that aim is. And just know that you might not. And that's not a problem. It's the unfoldingness that creates clarity. So just know that you're exactly where you need to be. Luke.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So I was on a podcast yesterday. It was about professional success coaches. So I was invited to go on this podcast, and how did you get into coaching was the first question. And when I did my first round of the Public Speaking Academy, Laurie absolutely transformed my talk about why I became a coach. And she came up with this phrase, Hero Pete. And Hero Pete was my father-in-law who had a quadruple bypass. And the day I got made redundant, I remembered my wife's worst day of her life. And it was her father having a quadruple heart bypass. And I thought, how many more Hero Petes are there out there struggling in business? Now, my talk was 12 minutes long, and I really enjoyed it, and I know it. But I didn't want to do 12 minutes on a podcast. So I told exactly the same story with almost the same amount of emotion and passion, but I did it in 4 minutes. And this is what Laurie talks about when she says, you can compress it, you can expand it. Once you know it, and you have it in the story library concept, you're able to add to it or take from it just effortlessly. I didn't need to go back to my notes. I didn't need to panic about it. I just told it and I shortened it to the bare minimum, and it was still as effective. So thank you, Laurie.
Let's go. That's what this is about, you guys. I really hope that this journey is not just bringing you like amazing speaker skills, because that's what I'm certain of. Like this process works. What I'm also hoping for you to get out of this is that like maybe a next level of self-acceptance, maybe a next level of awareness of how cool you are, maybe a next level like walk on the memory lane of amazing stuff that you went through, or maybe not so amazing stuff that you went through that created the person that you are right now and really proud of. This journey is so much more than you becoming a speaker. Public speaking is the accelerated path for impact. Who knows for a fact they're born to add value. They're born to help. They're born to create. They're born to serve. Public speaking helps you do that on an accelerated scale. Who feels today that when you share stories and you create and provoke that emotion, that you're really able to create an emotional connection with people, even though it's not one-on-one? And that when you can do it for 1 to 2, and you can do it for 1 to 3, you can also do it for 1 to 10,000. Like the amount of people, that's just what changes the emotion around it. But it doesn't change the framework. But it also is the accelerated path of business growth. Who starts to see that this cruise is now going to be a profitable cruise, right? And who sees that your next speaking engagements, when you do this, even though, and I'm going to tell you this might sound crazy, but even though you not actively pitch, when you follow the steps, can you start to see that people actually come up to you? And even though it's not yet clear maybe what you actually offer, because maybe some of you did not really figure that out. Maybe you don't know what your coaching program is, or your 3 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, I don't know. But maybe you don't need to know. Because people will come up to you and you're saying, well, let's jump on a call and figure out what you need. And they're going to tell you. And then you're going to put a price point on it, and then they're going to say yes to it. Because you already created that rapport. Does that make sense? And when you already did have an offer, do you see how this becomes a wagon wheel that you can scale without you putting more time in, but can still really value integrity and true connection and true authentic vulnerability? And then last but not least, I want to wrap it up with this, that public speaking is also the accelerator of personal development. For whom would it mean a lot to have like that next level of confidence? And who can already see how that's going to spiral off in other areas of your life? Family, friends, business. That's what this is about. The keynote is just the cherry on top. But the journey, that's why you're here. And I want to really acknowledge you, because in my opinion, and maybe you don't completely agree with it yet, it's one of the funnest journeys, the most fulfilling, because it's real. The more authentic, the more vulnerable, the more present, the more is, the better of a transformation you're able to create. The more layers of dust and bullshit and protection that need to fall off. And I hope that you also feel that this is the place where you can be that version, even though that it's a little scary. That this is a group that's going to hold you, that's going to protect you, that's going to be there for you with whatever comes up. Maybe that sounds a little serious in a way that we started with a song, but I really want you to know. Because the world is better with you in it. With more of you in it. And that's what we're doing. So with that said, we're going to close up the Zoom. And I would love all of you to invite you to create a video. We do this every single week, and you're going to share the video right after, preferably, in our WhatsApp group. Now, some of you are not yet in our WhatsApp group. You will be added right away. All right? In the video, you're going to answer 3 questions. The first question is, what was your biggest aha moment or breakthrough today? For everybody who already knows, it's always the same, Lori. I know this by now. Thank you for putting in the chat. Your aha moment or breakthrough. The second one is, what action are you committed to do? And my invitation would be, fill in your story library. Every single thing you just brainstormed, put it in there. Watch the course. Watch the entire thing. So what are you committed of doing before we see each other next? And number 3, really important. Who in this group are you grateful for today and why? Let's not forget that public speaking is one of the biggest fears of humankind. And that someone in this group is grateful for you today. And you don't even know. It's really nice to hear. That just you, by showing up, whether you're on camera or off camera, or your connection works perfectly or it doesn't, or you did raise your hand first, or you were just present, you were active in the chat, like someone here appreciates you for all of that. So let's express that. Would be cool? So number 3 is, who are you grateful for today in this group and why? You guys, I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you, for this whole incredible journey. And we'll see each other either Monday, which I want to reaffirm, you all have access to the Monday calls. They're 1 hour, they're extra. So if you cannot make it, you're not missing. If you can be there, it's amazing. And otherwise, we see each other next week. Same group, same link, same time, just in 7 days from now. All right? Have fun. See all your videos.